Okay, hi, it's Rahim again. This time I've got a hand cam because we're going to talk about movement. And I'm going to focus on early game movement because we don't have access to Berserk yet. So it's just going to be basic movement and all the things you can do in Fable. And that will come in hand during the run. Where we'll start from the very, very basics and then we'll go into the more advanced stuff. So I guess holding W makes you move forward. You can turn your camera and the character will just adjust the angle to keep going forward. You can hold two directional keys like A or D to move on the side. If you're holding W and S at the same time, so frontward, backwards, your character is going to stop. If you're holding S, it's going backwards. You can also pair it with one of the movement keys. If you're holding A, W, and then A and D, your character is going forward. Alright. You can shift. You can use shift to do to start sneaking. Sneaking is useful because you can do 180s without having your character move. It's very easy to do 180s. In Fable, if you want to do 180, single tap S, your character is going to move sideways. See? So that's not the most efficient 180. If you sneak, you can do 180s like that. It comes in hand mostly just for Aeon's clip that we will talk about later. But yeah, it's just in your playthroughs if you one day need to just do a quick 180, and obviously it's going to be quite tough doing it when you're standing. So sneaking can be an option. And if you want to, I don't know, do something like this, it's possible. Even though, I mean, I guess we could do that, but that would take a lot of practice. Whatever. So, classic movement, the ones you are going to see a lot, rolling. Rolling in Fable is surprisingly hard. It's supposed to be easy. It is not. Yeah, just like that. There's a timing to it. I mean, it's obvious, but you can do it consistently. If you are having trouble with that, just practice more, I guess. Some people double tap, just like that. I think to make sure they have the input. I feel like it's way too many inputs, and then when you start Berserk Rush rolling, it's just going to be way too hard. So I just prefer having a nice single clean tap and just holding W so that when I fail my roll, I'm still moving forward. You can also hold right click, you can see it, but this makes you run, so when you fail a roll, you're still accelerating. You can do directional rolls, so from the sides. These take a while, because you can see on my screen, on my hand cam, I'm using the same finger to do D and R to roll. And actually this is a good way to show that you can roll without pressing down a directional key. So if you're holding D and then you quickly release it and tap R, you're still gonna roll. And you can combine that with W to get like a nice side roll. You can use A as well. So those are extremely useful in some places when you want to like do quick 180s, like here. Yeah, you're just gonna be careful to not like side roll just like I did. But yeah, they're sort of useful. Yes, I guess you could combine sneaking as well. Wow, this is actually tough, but whatever. Yeah, just they're situational, and since I'm going to be breaking down the entire movement of the run later on, if I do the entire run, I'll talk about them when they need to come in place, but yeah. they exist. Then, once you get rolling down, you've got Assassin Rush, which is going to be the most important key for the early game. Now I guess I'm going to talk about hotkeys. First, also, for rolling, I advise having vertical sync off. This helps a lot, at least for me. If I have it on, I don't know. I feel like it's just slower. See, like, my character's coming to a full stop. I can't really, like, cancel my roll animation. But when I have it off, it feels much smoother. So, I don't know. There's no science on that. There's no math, no numbers. It's just a feel. I think Noctiverse feels the same. I think most runners feel the same, but I know I've talked about it with Noctiverse. So, yeah. Keybinds. Hotkeys. I don't know how you call them. Personally, my idea was, when I did my hotkeys, I want all my directional inputs, my directional, I want all my direction buttons to be always available, and that I always have a finger on them. So, I have middle finger on W, index finger on R for rolling, and then I need a finger to rush. And this is why I put it on 1, so that I have this finger, I don't know how you call that, on 1, so that I can, like, chain, rush, roll, rush, roll. I know a lot of people use 3 or 4.
Follow.
I'm not a big fan because you have to, like, move your finger across. I just prefer having a nice, you know, smooth motion. And I also have Berserk on middle mouse, so that I really don't have to move a single finger just to move around. That's my idea, that's my thought. So, now you can do whatever you want. If you want to rush with spacebar, you can do that. Assassin Rush rolling. So, something nobody really does, but can be really useful, is buffering your roll during Assassin Rush. You can buffer a roll, like if you hold down R, it's gonna. I've got my inputs, by the way, on top of my bar. I mean, you've probably seen them, but as you can see, I'm rushing, holding down R, and there's an automatic roll that comes out, and then I can just mash Assassin Rush. That'd be like an easy way to move around. I like to do things clean, so generally I have double tap on rush and then roll at the end of it. That gives me a smooth timing. Alright, keybinds are wrong. TGF. Why? TGF. I remember this. Sorry. Potion. True. I'm gonna need to reload if I want to rush a lot. So yeah, double tap, Assassin Rush, single tap, roll. Know that your character is always gonna rush towards the angle he's facing. So you might like look this way. If I rush, my character is gonna go this way. So keep that in mind. This is why you want W pressed at all times, so that it like resets your angle. You're not really going forward, but you just want to reset your angle. Same thing. Actually, I'm gonna reload so that we can see some light. Same thing. You can rush sideways. It's pretty much the same thing as rolling. You can also like press D and then rush sideways like that. The thing is, again, your character is going to rush towards the direction it's facing, so you have to be really fast, because if you're releasing the... We were about to talk about that, this is fine. If you're releasing D or A too fast, your character is going to start going back forwards and you won't really rush on the side. So you want to really hold down, left or right if you wanna rush to this direction. Another thing to note is that it's very easy to crush the game when you're assassin rushing. Essentially, when you're using any spell. You know, sometimes you've got like little boxes on the floor with like a potion in it. Don't rush into that. Don't rush into that. Don't rush into that. Don't rush into that. If you're like at this distance, it's fine. If you're less than like a character away from it, do not rush into this thing. It's dangerous and it will crash your game. I mean, it won't crash your game. It will loot lock it. That's what we call a loot lock. So yeah, don't rush into that. Another thing is using a rush and then using a menu in quick succession. It's essentially what I did right before. There you go. Crashed my game. Soft locked it. Don't do that either. You don't want to do that. So now we're gonna get into the crispy stuff. Just take a sip of my tea before we actually do get into the crispy stuff. So there was a new trick found recently that's called seal rushing, Zelda rushing, weird rushing, magic rushing, double rushing, triple rushing, quintillion rushing, I don't know. Looks like that. Looks fast. Is fast, in fact. And it's pretty hard to do. So I'm going to explain how I do it. So essentially, the concept of it is press Assassin Rush, quickly use Guild Seal, and it's going to reset your rush timing. And as you can see, my rush is not fully coming through. This is a normal rush, and this is like a cancelled rush. So you might want to practice just getting those cancel rushes in. And those actually reset your rush timing. So you don't really have to like chain them super fast. You can just like do a nice slow chill streak, you know? Yeah, it also works with like the bow. See? It's actually a mechanic that Rush has. It's pretty weird. It works with blocking an adversary. You can also like rush, use your bow, and then rush again. It's pretty weird. The easiest way to do it is seal. This is why I'm using seal rushing. So once you get the timing for those cancel rushes, you just want to chain them together, and you get a nice streak of seal rushes. I'm gonna reload because I have no mana. One thing to keep in mind that's very important is that you really want to face the right angle, and you want to make sure there's nobody in your way. If there's like an NPC here, and if you want to go there, the NPC is gonna block you, like you're gonna side rush to it. So you really want to make sure you've got nothing in your way. You're aiming for this table, so don't start it when you're aiming here, because you're gonna end up here. You want to go there, so just move your mouse and go there, you know? So that's important. Also, obviously I'm using 1 and 2. You want to position your Guild Seal right next to Rush. If you have Guild Seal on like 3 or 4, full on RGB baby. If you have Guild Seal on Rush on 3 or 4, you can do it with like 3, 4, 5, or you can also do it with like a totally different key. I used to use mouse button 4. If you have, I don't know, Seal on mouse button 4, you can just chain those together. Can be a bit awkward. I think that having those two next to one another and clicking them in rapid succession really helps. Makes it a lot easier. Yeah. I think that was it. Next episode is going to be about Protect Orchid Farm. I think this one was... Why is my Windows key held down on S keys? I guess that's just an S key thing. That was a pretty long episode. I was like kind of all over the place, didn't really have a script for it. Don't hesitate to ask questions about anything. I'll try to provide timestamps so that it's easier. But yeah, essentially running around that can be useful in some places when you have to do like 180s. Rolling, disable vertical sync, and just get the timing down. Try not to side roll like this. And then assassin rush rolling, where you can buffer a roll to make it a bit easier. And then seal rushing, most up-to-date cool strat. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace out.